Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Truck Me Eccentrically. So yeah, it's 6:30 in the morning and I'm already at my delivery. Got my butt up early this morning. When I say early, I'm talking like midnight early. Dropping a load in Douglas, Georgia at Walmart. And I'm gonna head back up to McDonough after this and I'll be done. Takes about 4 hours to get back. He said drop this trailer over here. There ain't no room over here to drop this dang trailer. What's he talking about? You guys got too much freight. You need to do something with it. No, seriously, there's no space over here. Oh, there's one spot next to JB Hunt. You guys remember those old commercials that used to come on the radio? Especially if you live in Atlanta or Georgia. And the guy on the commercial, he was like 1-800-2-JB Hunt. Yeah, that's what I think about every time I see a JB Hunt truck. I mean, if this Swift trailer wasn't hanging out so dang far, I could probably swing it around, but I'm a little concerned about doing that because there ain't a whole lot of room right here. And I don't think, once I cut it all the way over there, I'm not gonna have enough room. My tandems are back kind of far, so I'm just gonna have to come over here and turn around somehow. There's literally one spot though. Man, I was trying to, you know, start this video off right and just start things smoothly, because it's gonna be a smooth day now that I'm down here and I got all the crap taken care of, all the bull crap stuff. My gears are about to shift. It's Friday and I'm just basically trying to get her done, you know, so I can go home for the weekend. I've had some obstacles. All right, Walmart, don't block me. I gotta park this thing. Don't take my spot. I turned around so I could get it. I turned around. I already claimed this one, Walmart. Please move. Walmart driving a Penske truck just like me. All right, I'm gonna see if I can get her up in there. Aim for the hole, Jared. Aim for the hole. Don't hit nothing. I have to cut it kind of hard, which isn't good because I don't have that much room over there. If that stupid JB Hunt truck wasn't in the dang way, I could have set myself up much better than this. Okay, it's just a matter of getting my tandems to line up just right with the hole. I got it in a spot where I like it. I like it where it's at right now. All right, I like where the front of my tractor is. There's always a JB Hunt in the way. See? Okay, I like that. I like the way that looks. Looking good there. Looking good there, Mr. Truck Driver. That's good. That's good right there. I like that. Sorry, I'm sweet talking it. Okay. Cool. So let me drop this trailer and go pick up an empty, and then I'll start talking about what I'm finna do. Okay. Put my window up. I don't want none of those weird South Georgia bugs getting in my truck while I got the window down. Come on. Okay, I'm gonna teach you guys a secret. It's not really a secret, but I'm just gonna call it a secret to make it sound more special than it actually is. So when you got a heavy trailer, you're dropping it, as you know, you pull out from underneath it, right? Like so. Now watch these, I'm gonna turn that back off. You hear that, right? That's my suspension resetting itself. But look what happens when I try to go. You see those wheels spinning? So to fix that, you either have to wait for like a minute or so, or all you gotta do is engage your inner axle. Your diff lock. Your diff lock will fix that. Because contrary to popular belief, when that's not locked, there's actually only one set of wheels back there. One side of one set of wheels on your drive axles that's actually getting power going to it from your drive shaft, right? And when you drop a heavy trailer, the wheel that's getting power to it, it's not going to be touching the ground. It's going to be off the ground because your airbags have to reset, and it has to adjust the air pressure in the airbags because all that weight that was on them is now off, so it has to dump some of that air pressure out. And when it does that, it actually causes the tire getting power to it to come up off the ground for about a minute until some of that air gets released in those airbags. But when you engage the diff lock, it brings power to all 4 of your drive wheels. So then you got traction, you're able to move, and you don't have to sit there and wait for your airbags to adjust, if that makes sense. When it's done, remember to turn it off because you don't want to drive around at highway speed with your diff lock set. Another thing, you don't ever want to engage your diff lock while your wheels are spinning. Any of your wheels, you don't want to do that because it'll mess it up. You'll get an air leak because all this stuff is pneumatic. It's all powered by air, right? Well, when those tires are spinning and you try to engage that crap, it's gonna tear it up. Don't ask me how it tears it up because I don't really know, but all I know is they said, you know, they always told me, do not engage your diff lock if your wheels are spinning, because you're gonna tear it up if you do. Okay, now I gotta come over here and look for an empty trailer, because my goodness, they're not gonna let me come back bobtailing. I'm a long way from McDonough. Long way from McDonough. So we gonna mosey on over here and find us a dang daredevil empty. All right, I'm off of their main yard, so I can turn my four-ways off. This is where they keep their empties over here. Hopefully this will go off without a hitch and I won't have too much trouble trying to find one. Let's see, that's not us. Actually, you know what? That is us. So we got one right there. I don't like the way that one looks though, so I'm gonna see if there's a better one over here. If not, I'll settle with that one, it's fine. But I just want to make sure. I don't want to get the crappy trailer if there's a good one. They might only have one over here, so. Yeah, that's probably gonna be all I have to choose from. I don't like the way that trailer looks. It looks like an old turd to me. I don't really feel like hauling it 200 miles. But looks like I don't have an option. Ain't nothing but pumpkins over there. Okay. So let's go hook up to that turd. That one might be ours. Let me check and see if that's our trailer. That is our trailer. Okay, I'm taking that one. It's mine. What's weird is that it doesn't have a decal on it, but it's coming up in our trailer list, so I'm taking it. I'm gonna double check with the office to make sure it's ours, but it's coming up, so somebody brought it down here. Okay guys, check it out. Do something a little bit different here. Three, two, one, contact. Okay, I'm showing you the route that I'm taking back. I'm recording my screen and my face at the same time. So, make sure you can hear me well enough. I actually made a video about how to navigate with a truck. Sorry, I didn't mean to blind you there. Using Google Maps. Okay, I tried to figure out one day how I would get back to my warehouse in McDonough from here in Douglas, Georgia, without the interstate and with only Google Maps as a guide. And I figured out how to do it. I actually made a whole video about it. I'm not going to go through all that right now, But if you're interested in how to use Google Maps safely as a truck GPS, then I'll leave the link to that video. It's on my main channel, Why the Nations Rage, in the description of this video, so you can check it out. I give you a lot of valuable information. Obviously I talk a lot in the videos, just like I do in all my videos, but it's pretty valuable information if you're a truck driver and you don't have a truck GPS or an atlas, and you need to get around and all you have is maps here. I show you how to use it safely. So basically I'm right here at Walmart, and what I'm gonna do is take a left out of here, and then I'm gonna come down here. As you can see, Bowens Mill Road, it's Georgia 206, and I'm gonna kind of go around the outside of Douglas, which is pretty much what they want trucks to do. But then I'm gonna pull a wild card on them, and I'm gonna get on US 441 down here at this intersection, and I'm gonna go north. So I'm actually gonna go around Douglas, and then I'm gonna go straight through it on the US route. There's nothing saying I can't do that, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take US 441 all the way up here. I'm gonna cross over Interstate 16, which is the green road you see right there. That's I-16 right there. I'm gonna cross over it like that. That's Dublin, Georgia. Okay, I'm gonna take a left to get on the bypass 441 and go around Dublin. Okay, once I go around Dublin, I'm gonna get back on the main US 441, and I'm going to keep going north all the way to Milledgeville. That is my favorite section of 441. This area right in here, and you're going to see why. I'll explain it to you when we get there, okay? But once I do that, I'm going to come up here to this intersection where 441 crosses over 22, which is the state highway. I'm going to turn left on 22 just for a second and be like, yeah, I'm getting on 22 now. Just kidding, because I'm going to actually, once I turn left, I'm going to turn right and head northeast. This is Georgia 212. Okay, this is going to take me all the way up to Monticello. You guys are going to like Monticello. It's pretty cool. We're going to go around the square in Monticello. Okay, that's where we're going to join up with this other state highway. You guys are familiar with it. I talk about it in a lot of my videos. It's Georgia Highway 16. So we actually come together with 16 before we get to Monticello Square. See, there's the square right there. We're going to go around it like that. Okay. This is Washington Street, West Washington Street. And it's still 212 and it's still 16. However, 212 branches off right there. We're going to stay on 16 and continue going this direction. Okay, we're going to take 16 all the way through Jackson, which I have a funny story for you guys. I'll save it till we get to Jackson. Something crazy happened this morning on the way down here. Okay, but once we get through Jackson, we're gonna cross paths with I-75. Finally cross paths with it. We're not gonna touch it though. We're gonna go right over it, and we're gonna make this right here. This is Jackson Road. Okay, and what Jackson Road does is it comes all the way up here to this intersection where 155 is. Now my job is right off of 155, so I'm just going to go north up 155 a few miles, and then I'll be back at my job. Okay, it says it's going to take 3 hours and 52 minutes to do it. It's 198 miles. A little bit further than the interstate, not much, maybe 12 miles or so, and quite a bit longer than it would take to use the interstate, almost an hour longer to do this. But I've had my fill of interstate driving for the day. I took the interstate to get down here, didn't film any of that. It was dark. You guys don't want to see that anyway. So that's what I'm gonna do as soon as I get off of my 30-minute break. I've got 9 minutes left. Okay, so once my break's up, we'll be out of here, and the video will officially start. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay guys, let me check my clock. Okay, clock looks good. Let's get the heck out of here. Happy Friday, by the way. I don't know if I said that, but if you're watching this on a Friday, happy Friday. Happy Friday. So I told you guys I got up at midnight. I wasn't joking. So if you're wondering if it's only 4 hours away, even less than that on the interstate, why the heck did you get up so dang early to do it? Well, it had everything to do with where I was picking it up from. I had to go to Union City, to that warehouse I've shown you in previous videos, maybe just one previous video. I think it was the first video I made on the channel. I had to go over there to pick it up. So, you know, with it being Friday and knowing just how bad traffic is from McDonough to Union City, I knew I had to start early to do it. And I mean, it's been 6 hours since I started my clock, over 6 hours now. So yeah, I got up at midnight. I got to work by 1. I obviously, you know, coming down this far, I didn't have time to take back roads to get over there to Union City. I had to take the interstate. That's the only way I was gonna have enough time to do all this. And so I basically got over there and got back, and I was pretty much lined up with McDonough on 75. I got back, you know, to that area within 2 hours. I mean, it still took 2 hours to do it. 2 extra hours to go that far out of the way and pick it up. So it's kind of dumb. I know you guys don't care to hear this, but I'll just say it's kind of dumb that, you know, we go to a total of 3 different Walmarts. Okay, we go to this one that's in Douglas. It's South Georgia. You guys saw where it was, right, on the map. Okay, we go to Coleman, Alabama, which I've already filmed that for you, showing you the route to Coleman. And then we go to one that's in LaGrange, Georgia, which is, you know, we drove through there. If you saw my last video, then I actually showed you a truck stop that I stop at every time I'm coming back from Alabama and I take that route. Well, the Walmart that we go to is like right off of the same road that truck stop is on. So we actually drove right past the other Walmart DC. I don't think I'll make a video if I have to go to that one, just because I've already shown you those roads. So basically, the thing about it that's really stupid is that we pick up the Walmart loads from Union City. Like the ones coming here to Douglas, we have to go to Union City to pick those up. The ones that go to Coleman, Alabama, we pick up from our warehouse that's in McDonough, right? So if you look at a map, it's stupid because it's crisscrossed. It should be the other way around. Like if we're gonna go to Coleman, Alabama, it would make sense to stop by Union City to pick the load up because it's on the way to Coleman, Alabama, right? And it would make sense to pick the loads coming here to Douglas up in McDonough because it's off of 70. They're both off of 75. They're both on that side, but they have it mixed. They have it crisscrossed. They have it to where when we come here, we have to go all the way to Union City to pick the load up, and when we go to Coleman, Alabama, we pick the load up from McDonough. And it should be the other way around. That's all I'm saying. It's stupid. If we could just pick the load up from McDonough when we have to come down here, it would save us 2 hours. And I mean, that's when there is no traffic hardly on the road, because, you know, I was on 75, 285, 85 at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it still took me 2 hours to get it done. So that's all I'm saying. It's just kind of stupid the way that they have that set up. It should be the other way around. But I'm sure they have their reasons. I'm sure we're taking different commodities to the different Walmarts, and the commodity that comes here, maybe they just don't have it in McDonough. They only have it in Union City, so that forces us to have to go there. We're about to get blinded, as you can see, which means I'm gonna have to put my visor down, which means you guys aren't gonna be able to see anything. So I might have to cut it short here. I was hoping that I could at least show you Douglas when I drive through on 441, which I'm about to do in a minute. I'll just keep the camera rolling, and if there's any salvageable footage from it, then I'll put it in there. Otherwise, we're gonna have to skip out on the video when I go through Douglas up here. But like I said, I'm literally going around the city, and then I'm gonna make this left turn on dang, dude. I'm watching that water truck. I thought he was about to hit that cone. I'm making this left turn, and I'm gonna go straight through on 441. And we're gonna be on 441 for a long time. We've got a long way to go. And when I say 4 hours, I mean every bit of 4 hours, maybe even longer, because there's gonna be traffic and stuff. So sit back, relax. I've got a full video for you for sure on this one. I've actually got a lot of video to edit. As I speak right now, I've only currently got 2 videos posted to my channel at this point. So I've got about 3 or 4 of them in the works that I still have to edit. I'm gonna try to work on that when I get home. That's why I'm trying to get home, you know, so I can edit the footage for you guys to see. Okay, we are sort of changing direction. So the sun's gonna be over there. Something interesting I want to point out is that there was one particular route that I took to get down here one time, and I wasn't filming when I did it, but I can't remember what road I was on or the city I was in either, but it's somewhere north of here. I want to say northwest of here. And I'm pretty sure that I passed the Boar's Nest. You guys know, if you know that show Dukes of Hazzard, which was like the first season of it was filmed in Georgia. A lot of it was filmed in Covington, Georgia, which I'm actually pretty much from that city, but I don't think that bar that they hung out at was in Covington, because I passed this building and it looked just like that place, the Boar's Nest. So I'm gonna have to look that up and see exactly where that building is, but I'm pretty sure I passed it on the way down here. It's not on 441 though. It's on another highway that's near 441. But yeah, as you guys can see, 441, it's split right here. It's one way, the other side's over there, on the other side of those buildings, which is kind of interesting. It comes back together up here. This is a really relaxing ride, actually. It's a good route. That's why I'm filming it, showing it to you. I like this one. Chicks and fish. Ooh, there's an axe throwing place right there. I've done that before, it's fun. It takes some skill to get it just right, but it's fun. You should, if you haven't done it before, you should go throw some axes. They're really not axes, they're like hatchets. But it's fun. Fun to do. Kind of dangerous, just be careful. Like flying blades. So yeah, you gotta be careful, but it is fun to do that. Actually, there's a place in Covington right off the square where you can throw axes. Cow Tippers Burger Co. That sounds interesting. They got a nice little town here. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's a long way from the interstate. Even if you take the interstate to get down here, it still takes about an hour to get here from 75. Check out this house right here. It's like a Victorian style house, sort of Victorian. Neo-Gothic era. I don't know. Queen Anne Victorian. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But yeah, that's Douglas. There's some palm trees for you. I think I told you guys in the other Walmart video that I made that I'm going on vacation next month. We're going to Gulfport. I think that's what it's called. I hope I'm right about that, but it's in Alabama, and it's that little area, the little peninsula area at the bottom of Alabama. I think they also call it the Redneck Riviera or something like that, that we're going to next month. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna film it and put it on my main channel, Wander the Nation's Rage. If you're interested in watching it, I will link my main channel also in the description of this video if you guys are interested in watching me do other things besides driving a truck and you want to meet my family and stuff. I have 3 kids. A lot of people think I'm younger than I actually am. I don't know why. Maybe it's the long hair and the I don't know. Maybe I'm just immature for my age. I'm almost 40. I'm 38. But I got 3 kids. I've got a 14-year-old. He's about to be 15. I think I actually said in my first video that he was going to turn 16 this October, but I'm actually wrong about that. I'm stupid. I don't even know how old my son is. He's 14, he's gonna turn 15. He's about to get his learner's permit, so I've got my hands full with that one. I have another son, he's 9, and I have a daughter, and she just turned 5 yesterday. Been married for 10 years, and a happy, healthy family. So if you want to meet them, check out my main channel, Wander the Nation's Rage. Link in the description. But okay, we're outside of Douglas now, so I'll get back with you when things start looking interesting again. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, we're coming up on our next town. It's called Broxton, Georgia. I don't remember very much about it, but I'm gonna film it just in case things get interesting. Their water tower looks like a giant golf ball. Junction 268. It must just be a small one. Man, that light was red, right? It was red, then it turned green for like 2 seconds, and now it's red again. Interesting. There's a tattoo parlor. It's kind of funny to see a tattoo place in a town like this. Okay, I guess that's it. Just a small crossroads with 441 and 268 there. And they have a Dollar General, of course. That company's taken over the world. They're popping up everywhere. This is also Georgia Highway 31 right here, just so you know. Got a golf cart Xing right here. Must be a golf course nearby. Okay, this is where it clears back out. I guess we're got our 55s. Oh man, oh, that was cool. I wish you guys could have saw that. There was a house, like just an old shack on cinder blocks, but it had this mural on the front of it of Barney Fife. I love art. I don't really care, you know, what kind of art it is per se. I love looking at art. That was really cool. It was like a close-up of his face, and he had like the wide bug eyes, you know, the Barney Fife stare. And that was cool looking. I wish you guys could have saw that. And we're gonna be on 441 exclusively for the next 30 plus miles. Then we're gonna make a left turn onto US 319 because it connects with 441 right there. Then I'm pretty sure that's mostly like expressway. Got a higher speed limit. I think it's 65 all the way up until you pass I-16 and head up there through Dublin, which is where we're gonna jump on that bypass portion of 441. There's the Ocmulgee River right there. Nice. This is says it's Telfair County. Definitely looks interesting. Looks quite different from the Piedmont area of Georgia, which is where I live. the topography of Georgia, it kind of does some interesting stuff. It will, well, just put it this way, you've got the North Georgia foothills, but then you've got the Piedmont area, which is an area, it spans like essentially like half of the state, the northern half of the state, and it's a plateau. It's like a giant plateau, and it drops off right around Macon. Now that river that we crossed over, the Ocmulgee River, it actually is all the way up there in Macon. So it flows, I want to say it flows out to the coast near Savannah somewhere, but it starts in Macon. But there's a big drop off as a whole. I just want to say, like, overall, there's quite a drop off once you get beyond Macon. There's something called the fall line, and that's basically where the altitude of the topography decreases substantially, and then as you get closer to South Georgia, everything flattens out. So we're actually outside of that area that I'm talking about, the Piedmont area. 57 miles to Dublin. So the land, it's slightly different than it looks, you know, further north where I live. There's a brand new high school right there. And this, oh, we're actually crossing over US 280 right here. So it does come all the way in here. I guess it goes to the coast. And we were on that road in the last video in Alabama. It's the road I don't like. I'm sure it's better in other areas. I just don't like it in that one area of Alabama. It's not fun to drive on. We're getting really close to our left turn up here. Oh my goodness. The speed limit just plummeted. I was never aware of a 45 zone. It looked like it went straight from 55 to 35. It's supposed to go down in increments of 10, but it didn't look like it did that right there. I'm not sure what town this right here is. Couldn't tell you. No. 2 miles. Okay, we got a junction here with US 23. Now that road I am familiar with. That's the road I was telling you guys in a previous video. It goes all the way to Jacksonville, Florida. This is kind of cool. Don't know what town this is. I'll have to figure it out and put it on the screen, whatever it is. So that's a pretty big, important intersection back there we just crossed over. Two huge roads crossing over, 441 and 23. 35 miles to Dublin now. Okay, here's our turn to stay on 441. Now this 319, we've been connected with it, so that actually happened further back, probably about 15 miles behind us. And they're both turning this way. I think that's due north. That's what they're doing right here. This is also a good way to get access to I-16 if you're coming from like in between. Say you're east of 75 and you don't want to go all the way to 75 and then all the way to Macon to get to I-16. This is a good way to do it. 80 miles from Milledgeville, so we're gonna go all the way up there to Milledgeville before we get off of 441. That's the part I'm looking forward to, because I like that little section right there of 441. It's nice. And this part right here, it's not bad. It's still pretty cool. There's a state park, Little Ocmulgee. That sounds interesting. Cool thing about all this land is that it used to be occupied by the Native American tribe known as the Creek tribe. Occupied this land, and before that there were what they called the Mississippians, and they actually settled on the Ocmulgee River, and I mean all this land was inhabited by them. And so you got cities that exist today like Macon and Milledgeville. Previously all that land was occupied by Native Americans, and they kind of just ran them out. I'm not saying that part of it is cool. I'm just saying that, you know, this land is pretty special. And you've actually got in different parts of central Georgia, there are memorials, I guess you could call them that. There's burial grounds. There's the Ocmulgee Monument that's real close to Macon. And it's a huge plot of land where actually the federal government has preserved it. It's a burial ground, and there's some monuments and stuff, but there's like these big hills where there's a burial. There's a few of them in that park. What I'm talking about is it's a Ocmulgee National Monument, and there's a few of these giant hills and their burial grounds. And there's also some like underground lodges that are still there. There's one of them that you can actually go inside of, and they say that the floor inside of the place, I actually have a clip of it. I'll try to put it in here so you guys actually get a picture of what I'm talking about. But you go inside of this thing, and they say that the floor of it is like 1,000 years old. It's pretty cool. A lot of it they've restored, but the floor inside of this one is actually original, and they say it's over 1,000 years old. So it's pretty interesting, pretty cool. It kind of sucks what happened, you know, to the Native Americans that were here. They occupied the land and they just got ran out. You know, that's what the whole Trail of Tears thing is all about. And you'll find that actually in North Georgia, where they basically ran the Cherokees out of North Georgia, forced them to leave their land. There's a giant Old Glory flag waving in the wind back there. We are about 30 miles away from where we're going to turn off onto the bypass in Dublin. Seeing a lot of those I don't even know what to call it. Is it called Old Glory flags? You know, the rebel flags. It's not the Confederate flag, because the actual Confederate flag doesn't. It's it's like a white and a red stripe, isn't it? And it's got, it looks like the American flag, but it's got like the circle of stars on it. The stars that seceded from the Union or whatever, that's the actual Confederate flag. But that other flag, you know, the blue X with the stars and the red background, I'm seeing that a lot out here. Hey, there's I got people trying to pass me on the right side. I got over because that person was on the side of the road. It looked like a homeless person. Did you guys see that? And I just got vehicles like just crammed up my butt right now. I thought they were gonna try to pass me right there where the guy was walking on the side of the road. Anyway, the only reason why I'm pointing that out is because it's funny. Like, it's like all out here you see that flag a lot, and then once you get closer to Atlanta you see the BLM flag. A lot of people have that, and I don't really know what to say about it. It's just there's clear division in this state particularly. I can't say a whole lot about the other states because I don't go out of state a whole lot, but yeah, it's just, am I okay with saying that, you know, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican? I'm not a libertarian. I'm not any of it. Am I okay with saying that? Am I okay with saying that there are things about both sides that I agree with and things about both sides that I disagree with? So is it okay if I just agree to disagree with both sides? Because I think that they're both right about certain things and they're both wrong about certain things. And, you know, I'm not really the type of person that looks toward politicians to get my answers, because there's a lot of questions that politicians and any human being is not going to be able to answer, and those are the important questions. And I just think that the whole political thing is just, it's there to distract us as human beings and get us to disagree with each other, because as long as people are divided, we're pretty much powerless, you know. But the one thing that I do agree with the people that seem to want to raise that Old Glory flag, the one thing that they believe that I do typically agree with is the fact that, you know, that one of their main important principles that they stand for is that we should not be under the rule of a totalitarian government, where we shouldn't be in a system or a society where the government has as much control as it has. And so I do agree with that. I don't think that we should be subject to a government that has too much power. I think it's important that we stand for that, because that's one of the things that got this nation started originally, is the fact that, you know, this group of people started a revolution against a monarchy and imperialism because they believed in freedom and standing up for that right that every human being should have, where we're not under the rule of a tyrant, you know. So I agree with that. As far as that goes, I totally agree with that. I think it's important that as citizens of this nation, we should stand up for our freedom, for sure. So I think they're right about that, but I think there's a lot of other stuff that they're wrong about, you know. But I'm not trying to get into a big political debate or anything like that. Again, like I said, I'm not interested in any answers that would come from a politician, because I'm looking for answers that a human being can't give. And those answers come from the real questions about reality and life and what we actually are as human beings. I think that until we really understand who we are, what we are, and why we're here, you know, we're always going to have division, we're going to have disagreements until we really figure out what really matters. I feel the same way about politics that I do about religion, because I think that they both go hand in hand. They're very close to each other. They're very closely related, politics and religion. And I think that, you know, human history has proven repeatedly that neither one of those systems are actually going to get anything accomplished. So I just wanted to say that, you know, I disagree with both sides, and you know, that's just how I feel about it. That's what I believe when it comes to it. So I'll just leave it at that. All right, getting real close to that bypass now, which means we got to be getting close to I-16. Yeah, it's right here. I go to Savannah a lot, so I'm on I-16 on a regular basis now, because I go to pick up container trailers. They're just the little, like, baby, like the 20-foot containers. They're so small that it's kind of funny looking for a semi to be hooked up to it, because it's real short. The container itself is just, it's pretty small, but it's heavy as crap. I mean, it's the stuff that I'm picking up out of Savannah. I'm not getting it from the port, but it came from overseas, and it's glass, but it's got like iron filament in it, because it's the kind of glass that they use to make solar panels, and it's really heavy. So you imagine these like really short container trailers. I'll end up making a video about it one of these days, and I'll show you what they look like. But it's a real short container, and most of the time it's got about 55,000 pounds in it. So they're short, but they're extremely heavy, which kind of makes it challenging to haul, you know. I won't get into that in this video. Like I said, I'll probably make a video about that pretty soon, picking up one of those containers in Savannah. But this is our turn right here. I don't think this is a mandatory turn, I think we're good going straight through Dublin, but it is faster to go this way. Oh, come on. What the heck? That was stupid. The light turned green. It didn't give us a green arrow. It was green for like 10 seconds. Wow. Okay. Okay, this is the bypass. Looks like JB Hunt might be a little heavy. Not really a whole lot to show you on this road either. It's pretty bland. So I'll see you guys on the other side. I'm looking at the GPS and it doesn't look like it really signifies where the bypass ends and we get back on regular old 441 once again. So I imagine it can't be too much further from here. Dublin's not really that big of a city. But, you know, going back to what I was just talking about before with the whole political thing, I think that, you know, we've got a lot of people that are distracted by the people that are asking the wrong questions and promising false answers. And really, I think it's just it's a big show, you know. It's just talking heads, meat puppets, whatever you want to call them. They're just putting on a show, and they're distracting people and you know, preventing them from thinking the right thoughts to ask the right questions. They're putting all this other stuff on your mind, that like they're talking about all these other things to distract you from the really important stuff. Like the main concern that I think we should be focusing on right now, one of the main things is like the escalating rate of technology and just the accelerated process of artificial intelligence and how fast it's developing right now. Like, because that stuff is independent of humans, you know, and it exists. It was created by a human, but it's no longer, you know, it's not in a human's grasp. And the rate of technology development is just, it's going at an astronomical pace. And so you gotta start asking the questions like, how far is this gonna go, and how is this technology going to change reality? What is in the works right now? What's going on in the background behind the scenes as far as technology goes, and what kind of stuff are they developing behind the curtain, you know, the stuff that we don't know about? And how is it going to change our lives? Because if it's out of our control, then who's behind it and who is in control of it? You know? It's not limited. See, human beings are limited. We have a capacity, you know? They say that we only use like 10% of our brains while we're awake. That's true. So, you know, I'm not arguing with that at all. Like, but what I'm saying is we're limited in our capabilities, but this technology, this artificial intelligence, it's not limited like humans are limited. I'll give you an example. This camera right here that's pointed at my face every time I get behind the wheel of this truck. It operates off of artificial intelligence, and it watches my eyes. And if I take my eyes off the road, it takes the recorded feed of the video and it flags it on a website, and then whatever human monitors that website will see where it flagged me taking my eyes off the road. And so they'll know about it. So you see what I'm saying? Like, there's a camera on me right now. It's running. It's recording video of me. It's probably recording audio of me as well. Well, if I were to do something unsafe, the artificial intelligence that's monitoring me right now would pick that up. So it takes the human element out of it completely. So where for that system to monitor me, no human is needed. And if I do something outside of the algorithm of what it deems feasible, it's going to flag it so that a human being can spot it. You see what I'm saying? Obviously, it would be impossible for a human being to sit there and watch all the footage of that video feed of the countless hours that I spend behind the wheel of this truck. But if you've got a computer doing it for you, then you don't have to watch all of it. The computer's going to tell you when something unsafe happens. And it tracks my eyes. It watches my eyes. If I close my eyes for a period of time, an extended period of time, longer than just blinking, it knows it. If I'm tired and my eyes are kind of, my eyelids are kind of saggy or whatever, then it knows about it. Well, this isn't new technology. This has been around for a while. So what I'm asking is, what else is in the works? What else is going on behind the scenes? I know we got like robotics and stuff like that, but how far is this going to go, and what is really behind it? It's called artificial, right? But what is the force behind it? How does it operate on its own? If it's artificial intelligence, that means that it's independent of human input. It's intelligence that is independent of human intelligence. It can function on its own. So what is behind that? What's causing it to do that? Electricity? Maybe, but it's a little bit more than standard electricity. It's a little bit more than a lightning strike, you know what I'm saying? It's a little creepy to think about, like, really, honestly. There's something about it that makes me uneasy. That's the kind of stuff that I'm concerned about right now. I'm not concerned as long as they're telling us that, this group of people over here is racist, and that group of people over there is racist, and this group of people over there, they're experimenting. This guy thinks that he's a horse. He no longer considers himself a human being. This person over here has come out of identification with the gender they were born with, and they no longer consider themselves that gender anymore. They're the opposite gender now, and I have to accept it. See, they're trying to distract us with all this kind of crap that doesn't really matter. It's just a distraction, It's been fabricated and shaped in just a way to cause our emotions to flare so that we get distracted on it, and we automatically just want to share our opinions on what we believe about certain things. But the whole thing is just a big distraction. They're trying to get our attention off of a bigger deal. You guys see what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense with what I'm saying. Like, as long as they can convince us that we're all racists and we're all homophobics and all this and that, as long as they can keep doing stuff like that and making us feel like we're this way or we're that way, or we have to identify with a certain group or this or that, we're losing the point that we're all human beings, you know, and we all came from one life source. And I'm not talking about religious stuff, because all religion can seem to do is continuously tell people that they're not good enough and they never will be good enough. They have to try harder to meet some kind of a standard. That's all religion can seem to do. So I'm not talking about religion. Again, like I said, religion, economics, politics, they're all a distraction. Anyway, I think we have connected back up with 441 here, and this is the part of 441 that I was saying is my favorite part of 441, and it's because of the road per se, like the hills and the curves and everything. It's just it's a really nice road to just sit back and chill and collect some mileage. There's nice scenery out here. I'm glad it's not raining, so you guys should actually be able to see. The fact that it's overcast helps even more with that, but we're getting closer to Milledgeville now. There's something over there. It looks kind of like a canyon or something. You guys, you might not be able to see that, but maybe it's a rock quarry or some kind of mine or something over there. So by looking at this, I hope you guys can see why I chose to come this way versus, you know, taking 75 up through Macon and all that stuff. This is awesome. There's nobody out here, you know. It's just open road. It's beautiful, just the way I like it. Big Sandy Creek. Now 441, it's a lot like 431. You know how I was saying in the last video, 431, It starts, I'm pretty sure it starts in Panama City in Florida, and it goes all the way up through Alabama. Well, 441 is similar. It goes all the way up through Georgia. If we stayed on this road, then eventually we would be up in like North Georgia, up in the mountains. But after you go through Milledgeville, you go over some lakes. I think there's like Lake Sinclair and Lake Oconee. And then this road goes up through Madison, Georgia, through Athens, Commerce, and then up into the mountains. I think it goes into North Carolina, like it goes through Cherokee, North Carolina, and I'm not sure if it goes into Tennessee or if it goes east after that toward Virginia or what. But it's just crazy to see how empty this road is. I don't mean to keep bringing the same topic up over and over again, but I'm just having these thoughts come to me, like how can I express myself in this kind of a way where, you know, I told you guys before that I just choose to disagree with both sides. And there's a lot of issues, obviously, we all know this. There's a lot of issues with racism in this country. And, you know, it's like the people that fly that flag, they're flying, I understand why they're flying that flag. It's because of what they would call heritage. And I don't think that they are, I mean, some of them are, but I don't think that all the people that like that flag are racist. I think that they just want to stand up for their heritage, because the whole way that, you know, the South viewed the Civil War was that the Union was trying to take over and take their freedoms away from them. One of those freedoms was the ability to own slaves. So a lot of people that fly that flag will tell you, no, I'm not a racist. I'm glad that slavery ended. I'm against slavery. I'm against racism. But I'm not for a government that has that much power over me, that has that much power over society. That's why I'm flying the flag. It's because of what the Confederate nation stood for, the fact that they were not willing to give up their freedom to a government that had that much control over society. And part of what they believe in is true. I believe in part of what they believe in, you know, and that's exactly what happened after the Civil War. The Union came down and they took all the land from them, and they, you know, they lost a lot of their rights. They lost a lot of their freedom. A lot of that they didn't really have to begin with, because yes, slavery is wrong, but when the Union came down and they took over the South, they didn't fix everything. They didn't make everything better. There are some aspects of some things that they actually made worse. And so the people that fly that flag today are just trying to stand up for the fact that they don't want to be ruled over by an imperialist government. And I agree with that. At the same time, you have the victims, I'll say the group of people whose ancestors were subject to the South, and they were victims of the South. I'm talking about the actual slaves. Well, their descendants are around now, and when they see that flag, they get offended. Of course they get offended. They have every right to get offended when they see that flag. It's just a reminder to them of the fact that their ethnic race was once powerless and completely exploited, like just degraded of the right of what it means to be human. So that's why I'll say that there are things that I agree with the people that will fly that flag, but at the same time, I will never fly that flag because it is offensive. It's not just offensive to black people, it's offensive to human beings. Because it's just a reminder of the degraded position that society was in back then. So I will never fly that flag. And it's okay for me to partially agree with some of the stuff that those people believe in, but you know, the majority of it, I'm not for it, you know. At the same time, on the other side, you've got people that say they believe in freedom, but what they're actually wanting is they say they want equality, but what they're actually pushing for is not equality. It's a system in which we lose rights as human beings. It's a system in which the government has absolute say over everything. They have say over the way that your children are educated. They have say over what you can and cannot believe in. Religiously, spiritually. And at that point you have a totalitarian government that defines sacred things as being obsolete, and actually those sacred things become what they would consider dangerous or detrimental to humanity, when the opposite is actually true. I've heard the expression before that when you subtract God from the situation, the government becomes the God. I've heard that expression before, and that's all I'm really trying to say. It's like, okay, they teach us, they push evolution in our schools. They have since the 50s, and it's gotten to the point to where you can't even go to university. You can't go to college and believe in God. If you do, you're considered stupid and ignorant because you don't believe that we evolved from mud. And I would rather not be ruled over by a government that, you know, is going to try to strip me of my rights to believe certain things, to set certain goals, to teach and educate my own children and bring them up in a way that I consider worthy to be taught or raised. You guys get what I'm saying? So I don't agree with any of it. And I'm okay with that. I can settle, I can have closure with that I don't believe in any of it. If there's anything that I believe, it's not going to come from the finite capacity of another human being. That doesn't mean I'm going to be closed-minded. That doesn't mean that I'm just going to look at any other human being and say, okay, whatever you have to say is obsolete to me. I don't want to listen to one word you say. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Because that human being might actually have experience or knowledge in an area that I'm not familiar with. So I'm not saying I'm closed-minded to what anybody else has to say, but no, I'm actually the opposite of that, because I believe that we're all here and we all exist for that sole purpose of relationship. That's why, yeah, it is offensive when they fly that flag that I've been talking about. and they say, like, if somebody gets offended by it or whatever, they throw their hands up and they say, what? I'm not racist. Okay, well, put yourself in the perspective of the person that says you are, the person of the different ethnic group that says you are. Put yourself in their position. Try to see things from their perspective. And maybe you'll understand why they think you are. That doesn't even necessarily mean that you are, but consider how they feel about that. And if you did, then you might not want to fly that flag so much as you do. I didn't mean for this video to turn into this. This wasn't my plan to go in this direction. I saw the flag back there, and it got me to thinking about it, and I wanted to talk about, you know, the way things are going in this nation right now. It's not looking real good, but I think there is a solution. I do believe that there is a solution. I think that it's way less in our control than we give it credit for. I tell all the religious people that. Like, all the circumstances and the trials and everything that we're facing today, it's no greater or less than what people were facing 100 years ago, you know? Like, all the issues that plague humanity have been around from the beginning. But the good news is, it's way less in our control than we can imagine. What I'm trying to say is that there is a higher power, and it's in that higher power's control. We all have free will, but at the end of the day, there is a higher power, and that higher power is way more in control than we would like to give credit for. So that's why I just say, you know, in the end, it's all gonna pan out. Because where did we come from? Human beings, where did we come from? Better yet, where are we going? How is this gonna end? What's really in control behind the scenes? Behind our five senses, the things that we can't perceive while we're conscious. Well, I happen to believe that there is a higher power, and that higher power functions, communicates, and settles everything with one word: love. That's what I believe. That we have a creator, and we are overwhelmingly loved. Every single one of us. Doesn't matter what ethnic group you are. Doesn't matter, you know, what your beliefs are. Doesn't matter your religion. Like, you are loved. And in the end, there's one reality. There's one truth. There's one reality. And in the end, we're all going to know the one truth, the one reality in the end. So fret not. That's what I'm saying. Fret not, because there is one being that's in control of all of this, and that one being is love. And that's why we're here. The only reason why we're here, the only reason why we exist, is because of love. And I'm not talking about on a human level. I'm talking about on a God level. The God level. Love. Is there a great evil? Yeah, there's a great evil. But is there an even greater good? Yes, there's an even greater good. And that's good news for everybody. And that's what I believe. I believe that we're headed in a direction, and despite whatever circumstances may come along with that direction, it's going to end in the intended place that it was meant to end in. And it's way, I mean, it's so far out of our control that it's impossible for any human being to screw it up. It really is. Like, we're not powerful enough. None of us are powerful enough to screw it up. So fret not. That's really good news. If you choose to believe that, that's really good news. That's why I truly do believe that with all my heart, and that's why I don't have to turn to politics or religion or economic strata to bring comfort to myself, because any comfort that comes from that is false comfort, and it will fail. Now, I've said a lot here. A whole lot. Is this still a truck driving channel that we're watching? Yes, it is. It's roads like this that really trigger my philosophical side and get me into deep conversation. It's roads where there's not a lot going on. I can just sit back and I can think deeply, and I can speak deeply about deep things. You know, if you wanted to sum up the history of humanity and you wanted to put it all into one sentence, I would just put it like this: history repeats itself, and all of the fear and pain are woven into history and have shaped the present and has a potential to shape the future. Pain and fear. But if you know what real love is, you'll come to find that the pain and the fear are really just an illusion. So that's the sentence that I would use to sum up humanity. We are like 2 miles away from our left turn onto Georgia Highway 22. So we made it all the way up here to Milledgeville, all the way. We just came a long way. Remember back there when we turned on to 441, it said we were 80 miles. 80 miles, 80 from Milledgeville. We drove all the way up here. I love that drive. I'm glad that I captured most of it and I ran my mouth most of the way. But I love that part of 441. Love it. Yeah, I gotta get over. Reduced speed junction, Georgia 22. Here we go. Now if you go west on 22 right here, you keep going, you'll get to Macon. takes you to Macon. And if you turn right, it takes you to like downtown Milledgeville. Now, as I said before, we're going to be on this road for all of 5 seconds because we're literally going to turn right at this next intersection onto Georgia 212 and head up to Monticello. Okay, 31 miles to Monticello. Here we go. That's nice right there. I wonder if that's part of Lake Sinclair. It doesn't say what it is. And I'm wondering if it's like where it branches off somewhere, because we're not far from there. If we would have stayed on 441 back there, we would have eventually gone over Lake Sinclair. This road is really cool though too, 212. This is a nice drive as well. Look at this, guys. Isn't that something? Beautiful. We're only about 5 miles away from Monticello now. I just drove through the Oconee National Forest. That's a big area. All preserved forest land. There was one thing that I didn't mention back there with my hour-long conversation. I don't even know how long I was talking for, but going back to the whole AI thing, okay? And how I was saying, I think what we need to be concerned about is the fact that technology is progressing at such a rate at this point. It has never progressed at this pace at any other point in history. And every day that goes by, that pace that it progresses increases. It can even double or triple. So when I ask the question, how is that technology going to change our reality in the future, and what is that going to mean? One element of that I do consider extremely dangerous is the fact that not only will it, but it's been doing this for decades now. The internet has a lot to do with it, but the whole fact that the technology that we have now, look how it's shaped humanity and look how it's changed things. I'll give you an example. So it used to be that if you wanted to communicate with somebody long distance, you would send them a letter in the mail, right? Well, then the internet came along, and then we had email. Okay, we had chat rooms. We had America Online. We had all that stuff so that you could communicate with people. You could communicate with complete strangers. And look how that caused us to fixate our attention on a device, a piece of technology. So before that, we were face to face. or we were pen to pen. You know, you had like pen pals or whatever, send letters through the mail. Well, then the technology came along and it changed all that, and it made it to where you didn't actually have to be face to face with a person to have a conversation with them. Pretty cool, right? You could talk to somebody on the other side of the world. That's pretty cool. I'm not lessening the aspect of awesomeness from that at all. I'm not saying, I mean, that's awesome that you can do that. But what's next? That's what I'm asking the question. What is next? If technology can cause human beings to turn from being face to face to having a conversation to turning to their phones to just texting to have a conversation, you see what's missing from that, right? The face-to-face part of that is missing. So a big part of the relationship between two human beings communicating was the face-to-face aspect, and technology kind of eliminated that, right? In fact, I think that a lot of human beings now would actually prefer to communicate through the means of technology rather than communicating face to face. It's easier to do it that way, right? I mean, you have a safety net, you have a shield of protection. You're not face to face anymore. So you can pretty much get away with saying whatever you want to whoever you want to say it to. So there's something about the technology that causes us to kind of bring our walls down and open up a little bit, right? But what is next? Well, I mean, it's not even just me. Like, it's getting kind of obvious at this point. I think the next turning point in all of this technology is it's going to get to the point to where it eliminates the need, the human to human kind of need to communicate. And I think that artificial intelligence is actually going to get to the point to where you can communicate with some kind of being and it doesn't have to be human. It's going to get to the point to where human beings no longer communicate with each other, but they're actually communicating with artificial intelligence. And you see what that does. You can see how that can possibly be a threat. This is Monticello Square, by the way, but I'm going to keep going with what I'm talking about. You see how that can potentially be a threat to human contact and human relationships. Well, ask yourself this question right now. How are you here? How did you get here? Why do you exist? Why were you born? How were you born? You were born from a relationship, right? It took two to make the one. It took two people. I gotta be careful on this corner. All right, cool. It took a relationship for you to exist, right? Even if that relationship was rocky, even if it was technically non-existent, even if it was a one-night stand, there was still some kind of contact between two human beings to create you. Some people some people are created from one night stands. I'm not condoning that, or you know, I'm not judging that. That's not my point. My point is, it still took two human beings coming together for you to exist. Okay, now take another step back to look at the bigger picture and ask yourself this question: why does humanity exist? How does the world that we live in exist? How does nature exist? How does anything exist? Well, I don't think it takes rocket science to come to the conclusion that you're gonna get the same answer if you ask that question long enough, hard enough, deep enough. You're gonna get, pun intended, you're gonna get the same answer: a relationship. It took a relationship for you to be conceived and be born, and it took a relationship for reality to be born. Humankind, Mother Nature, Father Time, all of it. It took a relationship for all of it to come into being. It took a relationship inside of God for it to exist. Okay? So I feel pretty safe in saying this. Relationships are extremely important for our existence. Is that not true? Did I not just prove that to you? Because if it weren't for some kind of relationship, you wouldn't exist, and neither would reality. Nothing would exist without a relationship. It's the most important thing about reality. Okay? And there are positive and there are negative relationships all around, all within and without, inside and outside of you and everybody else. But it's still relationship, right? Now you look at artificial intelligence and you see what it's doing. It started out diminishing relationship, and it's headed in the direction to where it's going to completely make relationships obsolete. I'm talking about synthetic things, artificial, synthetic. Another word for that would be formless, without. Unauthenticity. Fake. Right? That's what synthetic means. It's fake. It's an imitation of the real thing. It's futile. It's not real. And see, that's where technology is going. Because think about it. Think about all the synthetic things that exist, that technology has brought us. There's all kinds of synthetic things out there. We have synthetic oil for engines. There's synthetic marijuana. that people use. You know what? The FDA just approved synthetic meat. And they're actually going to start manufacturing it and producing it. Synthetic meat. It's not real meat. Well, how much longer is it going to take? They've already got a synthetic virtual reality. It's called the internet, right? It seems boundless. I mean, you can get on the internet and find anything you want. You can bring anything you want to you. How much longer is it going to take for them to try to create a synthetic reality? I'm talking about, and I'm dead serious, I'm not even joking, I'm talking about Matrix crap. Just like the movie, the Matrix. How much longer is it going to take for us to get to that point? And where are we going to draw the line? I think that kind of stuff, that's what we need to be concerned about right now. Not who's racist and who's homophobic and, you know, what gender do you want to be now, and you see what I'm saying? Like, this is serious. Like, if you don't realize what you are, and if you have no value for reality, the real reality, and it doesn't mean anything to you, how easily would it be for you to make the decision to jump in to a synthetic reality? And then what happens? I mean, seriously, do you just like cease to exist in the real world? Like, what happens then? And another question would be, how did we even get to this point? To where people are actually more intrigued by artificial things than the real thing. How did we get to this point? I think, you know what I think that means? I think that means somewhere along the line we lost the meaning of reality and life itself. We're too wrapped up in our man-made systems, you know? We're so wrapped up in the systems that we lost the point of what it all really means. So in contrary to, you know, all this synthetic crap that's gonna come our way eventually, in contrary to that, I'm putting my foot down and I'm saying, no, I want to be the opposite of synthetic. I want to be real. I want to be who I really am. I want to be who my creator really made me to be. I want to be exactly who I am. To combat any form that's not of myself. Because I would really hate to cease to exist. I would hate for existence to cease for anybody. So I think the real key and the real answer to that is just having a revelation of what you are and who you are. Not just what you are, because you are a human and you have an inheritance from the one that created you. You have an inheritance. You have things that he destined for you. And I'm not even going to say he, I'm going to say he, she, because I believe that both male and female, both counterparts, both came from the same being. So technically that being is both male and female, because both came from that being. So that being is both male and female, and neither male or female, both. I know that doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't have to make any sense, because maybe the one that created us is scaled way beyond what we can even imagine. Maybe the one that created us is infinite, and our finite minds can't comprehend that. But there are things about you that are unique. There are also things about you that are uniform to what you are. You're a human being, but you're not just a human being. You are you, yourself, and you're unique, and there's nobody else like you. You're special because of that. You were designed to be unique. So not only are you a body, a soul, a spirit that was amazingly created, like we don't even understand that. Like we can't even wrap our minds around how the human body functions completely. But not only that, what about the parts that we don't know about? What about the soul? What about the spirit? What about our existence after we leave our body? We can't understand these things, right? We can't. But what I'm getting at is if you don't understand who you are or what you are, then you're gonna want to be pushing the eject button from this reality. But I'm telling you that that's not something that you want to do. So it's just something to think about. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Like, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to not only be human, but to be me? What does that mean? Who am I? What are the things about me that I don't know about? I mean, we're all pretty deep, you know? Really, we are. It's just that some of us have learned how to survive on the surface without penetrating the deeper parts of our beings. Well, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be shallow. I want to be who I am. And if there's anything I'm longing for, it's authenticity. And I don't feel like we have to perform or strive to get there. I don't think it's a matter of trying to get there or putting forth effort to get there. No, you are who you are. It's just a matter of awareness. Existential awareness, even. It's a matter of connecting with the present instead of living in the past, or even being tortured by your past. Instead of doing that, and or worrying about the future or being concerned about the future, because that's not going to get you anywhere. But if you connect with the present moment right now, all that you are, if you just connect with the moment that you're in right now, what will you find in the present? Instead of digging in the past and worrying about the future, what can you find about yourself in the present? When you align all of who you are with this moment, what does that mean for you? That might mean facing pain. That might mean facing fear. But ultimately, I think I know what you're going to find when you do that. You're going to find love. Because that, like I said before, that's why we exist. That's why we're here. So more than anything else that's connected to this moment, love is connected to this moment more than anything else. It's the strongest force that's connected to right now. And everything else is either a memory of the past or it's an imagining of the future. Remember what imagination is. It's not real. It's a figment, it's a thought, it's a concept in your head that you imagine in your head. That does not mean that it's real. So here's something for the religious people. When you spend all your time focused on the future and what's to come and what you're afraid of, that always seems to be in the future, that's always about to come. It's always about to come, but it's never really in this moment, but it's always about to come, and they're always imagining what it's going to be like and how bad it's going to be and everything else. That's just your imagination. That's not real, and that's not how you connect with your creator. See what I'm saying? Only this moment is real. Everything else is a memory or it's an imagination. It's an imagining. Okay, now we are back up here. We're on 16. We're going through Jackson right now, but I have a little story to tell you about what happened this morning. So I was coming from the opposite direction. I was going down US 23, which we're on right now. I know you see all these other roads. We're on these other roads too, but we're also on US 23. And I was coming from this direction. And you guys, you see this Burger King right here. Well, there was a cop sitting right there at the exit for Burger King. And you see that tree or the bush or whatever? I was coming from that way. The cop was right there at the exit for Burger King. And I was coming down the road at about the same speed I'm going right now, about 25. And out of nowhere, that cop just pulled right out in front of me, just darted right out in front of me. No blue lights, no nothing. He was trying to pull somebody over for speeding, but he pulled right out in front of me. And I weighed about 70,000 pounds. And he just came out of nowhere. I mean, one minute the road's clear, next minute there's vehicle pulling out in front of me. I had to slam on my brakes. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. This is Jackson Square, by the way, where they filmed Stranger Things. And so yeah, it caught me off guard, and I mean, he kept going. But yeah, it was just really messed up. I couldn't believe that a cop pulled out in front of me like that. I could have hit him. If I didn't slam on my brakes, I would have T-boned him. But instead of getting all mad and all judgmental about it, I mean, I think that I would have an argument there, but I'm not even going to waste my breath talking about how messed up that was. But maybe instead of being like that, maybe I should just be like, okay, merciful. Yeah, it just really surprised me that a cop did that and almost caused an accident so that he could write somebody a speeding ticket. But You know, maybe he was tired, maybe he just made a mistake. Maybe he didn't see me. Maybe he didn't really have a chance to think about what he was doing. I don't know, but it was just... I really wish that I had the camera on my head. See, I wasn't going to film because it was dark, but I really wish I would have got that on camera. Because I've never seen a cop do something like that. I mean, he almost caused an accident. I came real close to hitting him. And in fact, that camera probably did get it. So they might actually have that on camera. Like the truck camera up there. But anyway, you know, like, the more that I talk about this kind of stuff, the more I'm starting to think that if I really believe everything that I'm telling you, then it should be a little bit easier for me to try to live in the reality of love and accept that I'm loved. I'm dearly loved by my Creator, and so is everybody else. So are you. Doesn't matter what you've done or anything else. And no amount of religion is ever going to change what you've done. You can't fix what you've done with religion, but you can accept the fact that you are loved despite what you may have done. You're still dearly loved. And we all have one Father, our Creator. And so the more I think on these things, the easier it becomes for me to realize that even when somebody does something messed up to me or puts me in a messed up situation, because I know that I'm loved, I can still be loving to that person. I can show mercy to that person instead of trying to seek justice. Everybody's trying to seek justice, and it's getting nowhere, because there's only one that can be truly just. Everybody wants to be a judge, including me. Just by human nature, I want to judge. I just automatically want to judge. When something upsets me, I just automatically go into judgmental mode, like I have a right to judge anything. I don't. Nobody does. Because nobody's in control of this. No human's in control of all of this. Just think about that. So yeah, this was a little bit of a different kind of video. I focused way more on things that I feel like I needed to get off of my chest and I needed to say and put in a video. Just things to reflect on. Maybe anybody that watches this, maybe it's given you some things to think about and consider. I'm not trying to freak anybody out with the artificial intelligence crap. I don't think that's the point. Because like I said earlier, nobody's in control except for the one that created all this. He's the only one that's in control. That's really in control. And he knows how the story ends, and he's not fretting it, so I'm not fretting it. I don't think anybody else should either. But if I can inspire anybody else, including myself, to embrace a reality of coming to know who you really are, because you know who your Creator really is, and you know that you are truly loved and truly unique. And the only way that you can connect with that truth is by connecting with the present moment. Then I feel like I said a lot of things that were way more important than just talking about roads, which is what I usually do. So if you enjoyed this video or got something out of it, thanks for watching it, first of all. But if you got something out of it, then that's awesome, because that's really what I want to do. I don't just want to talk about roads in my videos. I want to connect and, you know, express myself and shine light, you know, give people hope. I don't want anybody to watch me or listen to me tear anybody else down, regardless of what they may or may not have done to me. I don't want to be like that. I want to spread hope, because I think that's something that's really lacking. And it has nothing to, again, it has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with reality, existence. I don't believe in religion. The only thing I believe about religion is that it will disappoint you and fail you and suck the life out of you. Just like politics. When you follow that kind of crap, it will get you nowhere. And it'll leave you utterly disappointed. Because it's not the real answer. Because it's not even the real question. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like so other people can find it, and hopefully they'll enjoy it too. If you disagree with me, leave a comment. Let me know where you think I'm wrong. I don't want to argue with you. I just want to know what your point of view is. I'm interested in knowing. I want to know what you think. I don't think my opinion is more important than yours. If you did enjoy it and you do agree with me and you want to leave a comment or you want to add something to what I said, go ahead. So other people can read it, so I can read it. I'm interested. I want to know what other people have to say. So come back again next time. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. This is Jackson Road, and all I'm doing right here, I'm almost back now. I'm just turning right on Jackson Road, and this is gonna link me up with Georgia 155, which is the road that my warehouse is off of. And then I'll be back. So yeah, you guys have a good one. See you next time. God bless. Take it easy. Later.